We all know why we're here. So let me ask you a question then. Why the big secret? Truth seekers were really the true leaders. Keep it grooving, the movement like two-seaters. Turn it up, we're knocking through both speakers. It's time we get the truth from the big secret keepers. Hey, truth seekers were really the true leaders. Keep it grooving, the movement like two-seaters. Turn it up, we knocking through both speakers. It's time we get the truth from the big secret keepers. Hey, break it down, now can you peep it? They're deceiving all the people. Let me ask you, what's the secret? Misinformation and lies, a devious disguise. They want the EMF blast until our brains is fried. Oh, point their beams in the sky. Oh, it's a movie now. This world is all CGI, their plot is truly foul. But we're here to rise up and bring the real. Time is now, truth seekers, y'all know how I feel. Truth seekers were really the true leaders. Keep it grooving, the movement like two-seaters. Turn it up, we're knocking through both speakers. It's time we get the truth from the big secret keepers. Hey, truth seekers were really the true leaders. Keep it grooving, the movement like two-seaters. Turn it up, we knocking through both speakers. It's time we get the truth from the big secret keepers. Hey, why the big secret?
Why did Ruby shoot Oswald? Was there a conspiracy?
In a world shrouded in darkness and obscured by deception from the big secret keepers, a burning question ignites in the hearts and minds of truth seekers. Why? Let's dive into the abyss of the unknown. Challenge the limits of our understanding.
This bizarre sequence of double killings raised great questions. Who actually fired the shot that killed Kennedy?
Pierce the veil of secrecy.
Cattle found dead and the manner of their deaths are a real mystery.
Anyone who is concerned about lead in the drinking water in Flint.
And venture into the realm of conspiracies and extraterrestrial evidence.
A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
Let us consider the question, why the big secret?
In the midst of 1930, a time of political tension as well as technological progression, the genius mind of Nikola Tesla, known for his significant contributions to the design of the modern AC, or what we would call electrical supply system, set out to develop a weapon that was so destructive on a massive scale. We're talking about a weapon so powerful that it will put the halt to all wars and any future conflicts. This was the tail force. It was referred to as the death ray. Now, the tail force is still shrouded in mystery and intrigue, and it stands as a testament of Tesla's his ingenious, right? And it's his relentless pursuit to technology that could possibly shape our whole humanity's future, right? Now, we're going to delve into this fascinating world of Tesla's deadliest creation. And had it been realized, it could have rewritten our military history, period. All right, so with that being said, as always, we're going to get into our fashion of tradition of pumping up the energy. So I hope you all are ready. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to the channel. Make sure you definitely hit the like button. So we're going to do it. So in the meantime, let's pick up the energy so I could get us going where we need to be. Truth Seekers. All right. I want to welcome you to Forbidden Knowledge TV. I'm your host, Roderick Martin, and this is the Rod the Big Secret Show. And we're here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And as always, you could have been any other place tonight, but you chose to be right here, right now. And with that being said, I'd like to take the time to bid you good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the 24 time zones that this show aired. And as always, we plan to be the boldest, baffling, belligerent YouTube channel in the world, creating captivating conversations that'll certainly cause controversy. Now, I'm located in that jumbo state. This is where those UFOs come out to play. It's a Texas thing, y'all, and everything in Texas runs enormous. But I will tell you this, the conversation that we're going to have tonight is going to be a big one. But in the meantime, put the children to bed because what we talk about is not PG here. And if you're running late and you haven't fixed dinner, I got a Texas recipe that you can cook pretty quick. We're talking some bacon, some butter, some biscuits. Yes, you can do that. I'm off of it now, but you can still do it. And there's nothing wrong as a big breakfast dinner. But anyway, I hope you're ready because this is going to be a consolidated night, I promise you. And then ultimately, I want us to chime in on the second half where we're going to get the opinions of the audience about this conversation. Even a couple of you could call in as well. And then also we're going to talk about something that was big in the news when it happened. It was happened to one of the biggest stars that we know out there. And the question is, why did they do such a thing? And we're talking about that property, right? That Beyonce and Jay-Z bought. That was worth $200 million, probably the ugliest house in the world, if you want to look at compared. But the question is, why did they buy it? Because it has a story behind it, right? And we'll get into that as well. So let's get down to the show, and we'll definitely get to going where we're going to go with this. And we're going to, like I said, we're talking about this death ray that Tesla was supposedly have worked on and was trying to create. And we'll get a little background to there. But anyway, I got a lot of notes for you tonight, a couple of files that we're going to just kind of get our notes from. And basically, at the end of the day, we're going to look into it as a collective and the possibilities of what could have happened. But let's get into some of the things that, you know, really took this idea. First of all, as you would know, Tesla probably has a patent for over 700 different items out there. But out of all the 700, had this one been one that he actually fulfilled, would probably, like I said, be the deadliest one out there. Despite his fervor and his vivid description of his tail force capabilities, the weapon remains a puzzle in the history of modern technology. Now, the lack of tangible prototypes coupled with the classified statues of many Tesla's documents following his death had led to much speculation, as we know that in this particular community, we have that. But various theories have been put forward to explain the principles behind tail force, with some even suggesting that it may have been a pioneer endeavor into what we recognize today as the particle beam technology. In fact, I got a couple of pictures I can kind of throw in on that, that a few people was talking about this here. This is kind of the death ray, kind of a colorization of what it would have looked like had he constructed this thing. But as we know, there's a lot of technology out there. Now, Tesla was not a man known for his idling boasting. You know, he didn't go around telling people, I created this. This is how I do it. In fact, you know, it was known that he probably had a kind of a peaceful technology. He didn't brag and boast because he probably knew, if I was him, that I am one of the best. I am the sugar honey iced tea. He probably knew this. So he didn't have to go around and tell it, right? Sometimes we know we don't have to do that. But his contributions to the electrical engineering communications, once again, like I said, included to the AC electrical systems, the Tesla coil, all of these are lasting testaments of his genius because the guy was smart as a whip. And like I said, he knew that. He knew. Now, this lends to a certain weight to the claims about Telforce. And like I said, this is where we're going to focus tonight, making it impossible to dismiss some of the claims that we have that's out there once we go over some of the material that we're going to go over tonight. Now, while it's clear that Tesla believed in his death ray, the rest of the world could only guess as its potential impact. So I'm going to give you a little background about this thing and in some of the stuff. And like I said, when I go into this particular file over here, got a lot of notes, a lot of articles, a lot of back stuff and information about this thing and how it was discovered. So we'll go into that tonight in just a second as well to kind of bag up some of the information, because there's a lot. This thing was a big story when it happened. And just like it is with Why the Big Secret, we focus on things in the past that was big when it happened, but less talked about today. And so we're going to get into it. Now, the concept of this particular Telforce technology was, something that we would think about in science fiction. We've seen all the movies. We've seen all of these particular technologies and ray guns and all of this thing. Now, it was proposed as a defensive weapon that harnessed the power of electrostatic repulsion to accelerate pellets or slugs or material inside what is called a vacuum chamber. Okay, so this is what it was designed to do. Now, Tesla himself, the one who built it, of course, claimed that it could be used against the ground-based infantry or anti-aircraft purposes. Now, the idea was so potent. Now, think about it. He knew, and he had to have known, right, that he was creating something that was a global changer. A little different than Abner Bird and then the other people that, I forget his name real quickly, that developed the nuclear arsenal or the atom bomb when he says, I am the creator of death. Y'all remember the statement. But Tesla felt that what he did here could stop. Now, it makes you go into the mind of this man. Was he trying to save the world? Was he trying to possibly put something together to stop what we deal with today? Or was it something totally different? And like I said, we just got to go down that rabbit hole and figure it out for ourselves. But anyway, the idea was so potent that it was often misunderstood and referred to as the death beam by the press. So there was the press picked it up. Some people saw it and say, you know what this guy is building is possibly the death beam, right? And that's something that, and again, it's echoed today in the future of what we talked about from here. Now, building upon this initial concept, his vision for the Telforce was incredibly detailed, okay? He imagined a weapon that could utilize, like I said, electrostatic repulsion to catapult a stream of many particles through a vacuum chamber at light speed. Now, today we probably can hear about this as the Navy railgun. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but look it up. Definitely Google the railgun, and you probably saw remnant of this in a movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger played in with Vanessa Williams. I forget the name just right up, but somebody can put it in the chat. But remember, she was a whistleblower because they were selling these weapons and they managed to take this big thing and scale it down. But this is part of what that was. Now, the results was a beam of particles travel such as high velocity that it could penetrate any material substance, anything, okay? With such capabilities, Tesla suggested that the Telforce could serve as a powerful deterrent against invading forces and be the ground-based infantry, and it can actually stop airborne units as well. So, but that takes us into who actually would have gotten a hold to this technology? Would he give it to the United States, military? And if so, now you're talking about a game changer that will change a global thing within the world. Now imagine it got hands on some other country. Now, where would we be today had this thing was materialized? And you'll find as well that this thing was really a problem for a lot of people, even the military and as well as others that compensated his material. They actually went out and said, you know what, we need to take this stuff and put it up. That especially, we'll get into that in just a second. But anyway, The underlying sound science of the tail force was derived from the realm of fantasy. Now, most people said that it had there was a lot of extensive research done and understanding. At this time, we was talking electromagnetism, whatever they want to call it at the time. But anyway, this is more what we would consider high voltage electricity. That's the other term that I will put that in. Now, the principle of this was repulsion, okay? And like I said, was to charge out these repellents and everything to really serve as a actually you would talk about a weapon that don't have any ammunition in it. So you're not talking about using bullets, you're not talking about projectiles or any of these things. This thing will just have some type of light. Now that what makes it interesting by itself, because now you're talking about firing a weapon that don't have any projectiles, what we use from missiles to guns, you name it, any of the things that we use today in the technology. And you think about it, he was doing this in the 30s, y'all. So imagine the technical advancement in this man's mind and where he was thinking. Now, the magnitude of his claim, however, led to the misunderstanding, a lot of sensationalism out there. The press, which took hold to this thing, was really referring to this as the death ray, which is what we have in our conversation today. And then this term served to increase the allure and the mystery around what he was doing. And so we now got to understand the question, why? Why did he build or wanted to build such a thing? Although we may hear that this was going to be a deterrent, well, could somebody have commissioned that from him? Could someone have said, hey, can you build a weapon of mass destruction and give it to us? And what will we do with that? And so beyond all of this, the potential for destruction, it was also hinted at a deeper implication of Tesla's philosophy. Okay, so what they're saying is that the inventor, which was him, was troubled by the devastation of war. Now, this is supposedly how he was feeling. He was feeling down, and as he looked out there on the wars, and it was like, this is something that has to stop. And so he just kind of took a personal approach to it. His emotions probably was high, and being probably one of the most intelligent persons on the planet, he probably felt that, I can end this. I can do something about it. War is bad. We talk about that with the extraterrestrials, and can they come in and help with war? Or we talk about love and all these other parts. But was that what he was thinking? Was he really thinking that humans, and we always talked about his origins? Well, could he have been time traveler? Could he have been an alien, or all these things? It's just so far. But whatever it was, supposedly his emotions so strong about war at the time that he said, I have the capabilities to build something that will stop this. And the problem was with this, and for me, and mostly for anyone else who want to think about it, is that he wanted to build a device to stop the war, but it had to be used by somebody to stop the war. So there was going to be a controlling interest in this thing at the end of the day. There was going to be a global killer or a person or country within, of course, the United States would have been in control of this weapon and will have brought all the other countries down mercilessly to the knees or the will or bend to the might of the United States. So I don't know if that was been a good thing that he wanted to do. But anyway, he hoped that the existence of such a powerful weapon could deter nations from engaging in conflict. And so that was one of the things that he was thinking maybe, and it's kind of like why other countries want a nuclear weapon. And we want to keep them out of the hands of other countries, because one of them feel if we got a nuclear weapon, then someone won't fire up on us, because knowing that we can retaliate back. And so the nuclear weapon is a deterrent from, someone else being aggressive toward the United States or the other countries who want one too. Because they're like, well, how can y'all have one? We can't have one. So this is why we have a lot of conflict within these other countries, especially when it comes down to weapons of mass destruction. All right. So in many ways, this thing here was probably one of the biggest things in history. So let me get into some background of the tail force for you so that we can kind of get into a little bit where we're going with this. Now, Tesla's fascination with the deadly weapon began in the 1930s. So really think about the technology that we're talking about here and some of the things that this man will create. Of course, you're talking, if you see some of these older black and white photos, you see him working around high energy things. This man was working on stuff that was before our time, we would think, right? And so this stuff here, when you think about his lifestyle, and I encourage any of you truth seekers, to go really do a deep dive into Tesla's life, and you're going to find some stuff that would probably just blow you away. Well, anyway, like I said, he began this thing with this deadly weapon in 1930s. Now, he announced the invention of a beam that could make war obsolete. Now, he used a strong word there. So his emotion probably, like I said, was, I need to stop this thing. And when you use the word obsolete, you're talking final this. Now, the concept was not new. He proposed the death rays that we're talking about during the 1920s and the 1930s. However, the vision was unique, and then he claimed to have invented a weapon that would harness a beam of metal irons, and then, of course, can hurtle these things at 270,000 miles per hour. Okay. He said it could shoot down airplanes from 250 miles away. So imagine, once again, that you have something out here that can beam like this and knock some things straight out the sky. Now, again, we don't have this type of technology somewhere today. And look up, like I say, the Navy railgun, or I forget what they're calling it now, but go back and look up some of this technology that could possibly already exist as well. Well, anyway, Tesla also struggled to provide a concrete proof that his weapon worked. Of course, right? So people were now saying, hey, what you're saying, this is not good. It's not going to work. You can't create this. Now, you got to think about it. It's not something that you're going to go out and test, right? You're not going to go out and test this particular weaponry because it's going to cause mass destruction, right? It's something that, how would they test it? Well, okay, we know today they can test nuclear weapons. They can detonate these bombs somewhere out in the deserts and all this place, which, by the way, got the attention of the extraterrestrials, which, by the way, brought them into our grand scheme of things, saying, what are these people doing here on Earth? Now, after his death, okay, in 1943, there was officials fearing that the weapon might fall in the hands of the Nazi, and so they seized his papers. Okay, so they went and took this man's stuff, right? We all heard of those stories. J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI at the time, played a crucial role. His involvement underscores a high level concern of interest that the United States government regarding his innovations, particularly the tail force. Now, it's like the government has the keys. The big secret keepers have the keys to the patent box. We may send in a patent. You might say, okay, this is my patent, but they have the authority or maybe the conniving way of going into the patents and stealing them and recreating them. But in this case, they just took his paperwork blatantly. They just we need to have all of his stuff. And what would have made them have the authority that they're saying that was national security? That's something we want to look into. We want to find out. But they're also saying that Hoover's involvement underscores the high level of concern, like I said, that the U.S. government assigned John G. Trump, which is an electrical engineer, and he was a physicist, and he was also an expert in high voltage radiation. And they wanted him to go in to analyze Tesla's papers, okay? But he also was tasked with assessing if any of Tesla's work could be deemed hazardous or beneficial to an ongoing war effort. So it's like they were saying, let's go in here and let's take this man's stuff, and then we're going to classify it even it's hazardous or if it'll benefit us. They already knew if this man was trying to create a weapon that will make war obsolete, they already knew that'll benefit. But you think about it, nobody's trying to end wars. Wars is where the economy begins to spur, the economy begins to flourish. That's one of the oldest books in the game is when the economy is bad, you want to, at some point, start a war. Just look it up. And that's been history when it comes down to those things. So anyway, so to really get into this, when Tesla once again announced his invention, everybody was like, we need to get deep into what is going on with this guy, and we're going to do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the other file. We're going to get into some of the stuff that was out there in the notes, and then I'll come back to this as well. And when you do some research on Tesla and you start looking at the death ray, like I said, it's one of these items that most people will say, it wasn't true. He was trying to create beams, or it's not something. And thank God we don't know if it was true. Well, we don't know allegedly what was really happening, but we do know had he did invent this, there would have been some issues. So I got a couple of things here from the New York Times. There are some different posts. I have tons of information that we're going to go over that came in about this particular incident when it comes down to it. But anyway, one of the things that I have highlighted here is that Tesla, of course, the father of modern day methods of generation and distribution of electrical energy, he was 78 years old. He would have been, depending on when we look at the age where, today, because this thing, well, no, he's been a lot older than it now, because in the 40s, and we're talking being dead 80, it's been like almost 80 years, right? And so that is something that we can look at. But anyway, like I said before, this man created over 700 different inventions. Now, anyway, one of the things that we want to look at it is that he also was an inventor of something called a polyphase electrical current, which was a pioneer in high frequency transmission, which his predecessor was the Marconi with the wireless, right? And so once again, this guy, and put it in the chat for other people, if you know how many different things that Tesla could have invented that we are now experiencing and using today, right? If something that you are familiar with as an individual, kind of update the audience a little bit of some of the stuff that that Tesla was doing and some of the stuff that he was getting into when it comes down to it. Because like I said, as we get deeper into this conversation, you're going to find that there was a lot of people out there that feared what was going to happen when it comes down to there. And so let's get into this particular part too. Now, what set the Telforce apart from other proposed death rays of the time was its sophistication and of the idea of the scientific principle behind it. Okay, it was merely just talking about a concentrated beam of energy that could cause destruction. But anyway, his vision was this weapon, like I said, could propel metals and almost 40% of the speed of light. So imagine something being shot that fast. We know how the speed of light. So imagine a weapon. So as we know today, if our pilots were in the air in their aircraft or any of the things, and they were fired upon by some missile which flies, Mach 5, 6 speeds or whatever, then we have radar systems that will, at this point, catch these things. So the pilot has a chance to, whether they have flares or do some type of maneuvers, they do have an opportunity to save themselves or maneuver against whatever that was fired upon them. But in this case, this particular weapon would have moved almost 40% the fastest speed of light. And what kind of reaction time would that have been for someone in the aircraft to be able to say, let me turn a little bit, or here's something that's coming. What could I do so that I'm not shot down? Now, we already talked about this last week where Dr. Gary Nolan was talking about the UFOs, where the government have recorded that they will pop up out of the water and go about 14 miles and back within a second, 1 second. And you're talking about the speed of something like that versus what we would have when it comes down to this weapon of mass destruction that he would have built. Now, the beam, he claimed, once again, could shoot down any enemy aircraft. And I said this already, of 250 miles. So that's a long way, y'all. That's a long way that you have an aircraft. So let's say, hypothetically, I'm in Dallas, Texas, and you're talking about an aircraft. Houston is probably 300 miles plus from Dallas. This thing can shoot something down for 250 miles away. It would take you to drive to Houston from Dallas, maybe 3 hours. Some people can probably do it a little quicker, but probably a little over 3 hours. And this thing can hit you from here almost to Houston within seconds from Dallas. So you're talking a serious weapon that this man was inventing. And it makes you wonder, it makes you wonder the connection that we've all heard about in ufology, his connection to aliens, or was he a time traveler? Was it all of these other stories and myths behind Tesla, you know? And so for him to be able to think of something in this particular time, and you can imagine if he was living in this day of time with some of the technological advancements that we've already made, he probably could have got that weapon done. And so that'll have been something that we would have to really do that. Now, like I said before, they seized his stuff, his papers and baloney, because they feared that the Germans would have had access to the technology. Now, listen to what I'm about to say right now. The Office of Alien Property was responsible for seizing Tesla's material and enlist the help of what we would consider an MIT physics, John G. Trump, right? And to review the documents that he had. But there was the Office of Alien Property. That's who seized his material, okay? I think that's significant. I think it's enough for us to, as truth seekers, to begin the process of going, what was the purpose of this place? Serious, right? We want to definitely do that. But at the end of the day, despite all of what we know, there was just nobody really saw a workable prototype for what was going on. So it still was a story. Now, it did have a legacy behind this thing. And despite of all the evidence, this thing still captivates the imaginations of people. Now, between 1950s and the 1960s, the Soviet Union made a cryptic announcement. I don't know if you want to go ahead and look that up, about they had a weapon system, and they also claimed that they had access to Tesla's work. And so that was a problem. And I think at this time you can see why a lot of these countries, including ours, began to maneuver in wars and all of a sudden space race. All these things began to happen because they did say whoever can dominate space can dominate the global war as well, because you think about putting rockets in space and firing them from any location. So those are all tactical advancements that were being made, but also one of these things as well. And so, and like I said, we're going to go over a little bit more. And then when I do the half commercials here, then I'm going to open up this show to a few people if you want to call in and kind of give your, your side of the story. We'll stay focused on the plan here, but at the same time, if you want to get involved, and then we'll go to the chat. And so I'll alert those of you who says, okay, it's time for me to go. And so that, don't hang around if we're going to start bringing the audience involved. But one of the things in the Cold War era between 1950s and 1970, the tail force took on a new life. The Soviets, like I said, made a lot of crypto announcements about their development of weapons, and they also speculated it was based on Tesla's work. Now, what really changed everything was that this was during what we call the nature of the Cold War, and you're talking politics and all of this stuff. So it was a scary time for another country outside of the United States to say, okay, we actually has the capability to create this death ray. So you can imagine if we thought we have already took his documents, we got it, we done hit him or put him somewhere, and now we think some other country says they have access, or now they know, or they have copies of these things. You can imagine at this point, Hoover, at this time over the FBI, remember his whole movement of spying on any and everybody, probably went bananas thinking we have spies, we got leaks within our government. I can imagine what Hoover was thinking and all those different stuff that he was trying to plan and do when he heard that another country said, well, not only we have the material, but we actually have created the death ray, which then could end the war against the United States. And so, or any wars that we were fighting in at the time. So you can, like I say, this thing was a huge deal back then. And the question is, what if he succeeded? Okay, where would we be today? What if Telforce had became a reality? And of course, we already know, could it have redefined warfare? Probably so. Could it put us in a whole different ball game today? Probably so. If it was done by the Russians, would we be speaking Russian in this country today? What if the Germans had it? Would we be speaking German? What would our life be like if this was in the hands of another country and they decide to reign supreme? Or it could be some country out in the world that has a whole different ideology of democracy and freedom and just said, hey, we want to conquer the entire world. What would they do? Now, all of these bring us into the question of what I call why the big secret. Why would it be a big secret today? And why would it be a big secret if they still was having these access to this information? And so those are things that I would probably really look into to do it. So what I'm going to do here real quickly is get us into our second half and first talk about the Conscious Awards. You all know it's coming up. It's really coming up real soon. And if you have not gotten your tickets to the Conscious Award, you should, because again, it's one of the biggest events of the year, and it's going to simply change everything for us. And once again, and thank you, Laura. She said he was murdered, in my opinion, because of his knowledge, and he wanted to free us from the BS. And that's possible. That is possible. So anyway, the Conscious Award is coming up. You want to make sure you get your tickets, and I'm going to play for you exactly what it's all about. So if you are going, and you should go, here's what it's about.
Hey everybody, it's Billy Carson, also known as Forbidden Knowledge. I want to talk to you about a very special event coming up July 30th, 2023, the Forbidden Conscious Awards, the first annual event of its type. We're going to honor people who have been contributing to the conscious community for decades. People that you know and love that have helped you get to higher levels of thought and consciousness and awareness. And guess what? It's time to give them their flowers while they're still alive. It's going to be a live in-person event, but seats are going to sell out very fast. You want to make sure you're there in person for this amazing level event. It's going to be above the Oscars, above the Grammys. And guess what? You can help vote for the winners. Voting is available on forbiddenknowledge.com. And the categories are going to be social media influencer, podcast/radio host, TV host, actor, director, producer, entrepreneurs, health and wellness, philanthropists, authors, field researchers, archaeologists, space anomaly hunters, and of course, a Lifetime Achievement Award. And you want to be there in person because I'm going to be speaking. That's right, I'll be your keynote speaker that night at the Forbidden Conscious Awards. If you want to come to a mini conference, this is the place to be, because I'm going to give you the knowledge that night, as well as performances. We have celebrity guests performing. We'll have a halftime show where we're actually going to perform music for you. And don't forget about the pre-event mixer, where if you buy a box seat, you'll be in the VIP section, and you also have private access to a VIP mixer with celebrity guests. Shake hands, break bread, network, and then walk the red carpet with us and take amazing photos. It's going to be a night to remember. You don't want to forget this. And you help vote by going to forbiddenknowledge.com. Go to the Conscious Awards link. You can text in a vote for who you want for any category, as well as if you're out of the country, you can use the web form ballot to still vote for anyone you think is worthy of being honored that night. Make sure you hurry up and get your tickets, because they're selling out very fast. I want to see you there. Forbidden Conscious Awards 2023.
So anyway, I hope that you are going to go to the Forbidden Knowledge Awards. Down in the link right now, you can take a moment right now and go click on Vote for Roderick. If 100 new people vote, that just gets me closer to a victory for all of us in our community. You know, as you know, I've been featured in some of the Geyer shows. You got, Regina Meredith, Open Minds, George Norrie, Beyond Belief, Alien Endgame. I host a TV show there on Discovery Channel. You can go watch it, as well as Fox Tubi, the Roswell abduction and 75th anniversary. Of course, on Forbidden Knowledge. I mean, definitely inside the Black Knight satellite. You got to go check that out, as well as in Forbidden Knowledge TV. There's an 8 episode there. And once again, featured on Ancient Aliens, the History Channel. And so definitely your vote means a lot. And I'm up against stiff competition. You got, Robert Grant and Teresa Bullard. So definitely those are two people that are pretty cool in what they're doing. But in the meantime, here we go right here. So just take the opportunity right now, if you don't mind. Just click down at the bottom in the link, and it's right there, easy for you to do in the description of this video, and you can vote, and then let me know if that's something that that you're done. And all right, so what we're going to do, like I said, if you're now watching us and you want to bail out, now will be the time, because now what I'm going to do is get the audience involved in this one, and then also give out a number to the phone right here if somebody want to call in and give their side of the fence when it comes down to what we're talking about. So I just wanted to be fair for those of you who are sticking around and pretty much. But before we do that, I want to get into what was in the news. If y'all remember, something came in the news the other day I thought was really blatant and it was out there. And so let me just kind of talk about it real quick. And I know some of y'all saw it, but if you remember, there was this particular property that was bought. And this is Beyonce and Jay-Z. And this particular property, here it is right here. Okay, look at this house, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it's cool, maybe. They paid $200 million for this thing, all right? The pool, all right, we see the structure of it. Maybe on the outside, look at it, it's nothing compared to some of the mansions that you see out there, but it had a story behind it that could leave all of us into a question of going, why would you spend $200 million on this house? And if y'all remember, the story says that it's because it's an old World War II bunker. Something, it's a bunker. And so the question remains, why would they, buy this? Now, I'm not throwing it out here, but there's all kind of rumors of future events and things that are supposedly be happening out there. And so I would love to have sit down with them and say, why did y'all buy a $200 million World War II bunker? And what was the reason for that when you already own, underground tunnels? Somebody is saying it could be a lot of stuff that, but again, this is something that they did. And that's very interesting to know because like I said, there's already been this backdrop of something happening out there. And we can start that into the conversation. If some of you have an idea, like I said, we'll refer to the chat here of why would they have bought a $200 million property, but actually it's got things under it. Is there something happening? Or, we already know people are buying old missile silos. We know that people are doing this, and we know that it's all in the intentions of, once again, things like Tesla could be inventing, or whether some type of, aliens, extraterrestrials coming, whether we have all of these different scenarios. But when I saw that piqued my interest to begin to say, wait a minute, this is something that we could look into, and we should. And so that is something we can say. Okay, so let's get into this. If you want to call in and talk about the topic, Tesla, and you got some facts and you want to pour into some facts, then you're welcome to call in. I'm going to give you out this number. I'm just going to call it out. That way I'll know who's paying attention. I'm not going to put it on the screen. So if you want, I'll give you a moment to get your pen out. You can call it. It only can take 1 or 2 calls at a time, and we won't have everybody here, but we definitely want to hear your opinion. And then also, if any of you want to talk about why Beyonce and Jay-Z bought a $200 million World War II bunker, I am very interested to understand this myself, outside of what I've already been thinking in the conversations that I hear. So the number you can call into right now is 937-R-TEAM, which is why the big secret office line is just going to forward into the box here. So anyway, 937-687-8326. And I'll take the first caller, and we will get you on. Like I say, just kind of stay on point of what we're talking about. And then we can do that. And then we'll bring in the conversation with the audience as well over here from the chat when it comes down to this. And so the question of the day is, what do you think would have happened had Tesla really, truly completed this project? What would have happened? What do you think would have happened if another country probably got a hold to it? Or could they have completed it and just hadn't said nothing about it? One of those things. And like I said, if you want to call in, you can definitely do that, and anyone from there. And I will probably reach out to a couple of people as well to bring them into the show so that we can kind of talk from there. And once again, if you are here, you want to go ahead and bamboozle, you can, because now we're going to bring some audience into the fray. So once again, though, the speculation is that Tesla would have created this project, but he died. And then also the government took it. They took it. And now, like I said, if you go back to some, Hollywood movies, you will go back and you will find that there's a lot of movies out there showing this particular technology, that it actually exists. And we all know that there is a number right there on the screen. So anybody want to take up the challenge and call up on here, you can real quick. And I am waiting for you. So, but anyway, like I said, you're talking about Hollywood. Hollywood has also showed us what is happening when it comes down to all this technology. Is this thing's going, and could we have done this? Now, Antonio says we would have free energy. I know that's much. Now we think about free energy. We think about one of the things, the consequences of free energy. There would have been a major issue if free energy hit the market. At least I think so. So we do know some of these things that Tesla talks about is something that the big secret keepers was not having. They were not going to have free energy out here on the market. And we probably talked about it all the time. Yeah, you got HARP, as Giovanni is talking about as well. There are so many things out there that we don't know what is going on. So anyway, definitely, if you're going to call in, now's the time. If not, that's cool. We don't have to have a call in, and we don't have to have this side of the fence tonight, and definitely get you out of here a little sooner than normal. That's something that we can do as well. So, but anyway, I'm looking up in the chat. Let's pull up a couple of chat, and we'll kind of see here, right here. So somebody said predicted program in Uncle Trump. All right. So let's see what we got here on Why the Big Secret. All right. Hang on one moment. Let's get you into the fray. And all right, you on the air with Why the Big Secret. Who are we speaking?
To send a voicemail, press 2.
There we go. All right, you're online with Why the Big Secret. You are on the air. Who are we talking with?
Aaron. Hey, so what's up with it? You can hear me?
Everybody can hear you, Aaron. So make sure you keep it down.
Oh, all right, we live and direct and about to check. So
Yeah.
why we ain't had like no major inventions since like Tesla, Einstein, and all them like that? Like, you know what I mean? Like over like the last 50, 60 years, it's like we've been going backwards in technology instead of like mass producing stuff to change the world for the better. You know what I mean?
Well, we probably are having a lot of Aaron, we're probably having a lot of inventions or, technology. We just don't know where it comes from. So if you think about the government, and then they might hand the technology off to what we call private contractor, which also allows them to build.
Yeah, like the military industrial complex.
Yeah, and they can do it. And if they hand it to a private contractor, we, the people, can't do nothing about it because we can't, FOIA Acts, Freedom of Information Act.
We all peasants. We all peasants to the system. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like, what's going on is going to be a system of haves and have-nots. But the old system with like the Federal Reserve and the currency and all that stuff is being like self-demolished from the inside out. And they want to do like the digital currency. So now it's like in my opinion, it's the old world order against the BRICS nations, because the BRICS nations, they want to have the gold-backed currency and they want to have their own digital currency. But at the same time, they want to work with the West, which is like NATO, America, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But, like the old world order only wants their way, and it's a new world. You know what I mean? Like America can't be the world's police anymore. I'm from Oakland. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
So I've seen the system, how they did the Black Panthers and stuff like that. And then let me say this real quick. I ain't gonna hold you up. Like the World Economic Forum, the Global Reset and all that, they in Switzerland, and CERN, the particle collider machine, is also in Switzerland. So it's all under the same umbrella. But what you think about CERN? And then I'm gonna let you go.
All right. And I'll hang up and answer that for you. But okay. So that way the phone lines are open. But I appreciate you calling, brother. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's all good. Take
All
care.
Right. All right. So I don't know much about the firm, but I do know the technology he's talking about and why it's in Switzerland and the Swiss banks and we do know that there's a lot of multinational companies that are controlling a lot of things that happen globally. And it's worth, like what Aaron is saying, when it comes down to them building a collider there, and also you got the banks, it's worth looking into and seeing how all of this stuff is going to connect and what effects it's going to have on the world. Anyway, whoever was calling with the line ended in 2175, you can call back now, or actually I'll call out to you since I can see your number. And so if you get ready to get a call, you make sure that you answer the line, and let's go. So I'm calling right now. And don't be surprised, because we're calling you back right now. That's how you do it. You call people back. All right. So you are on the air with Why the Big Secret on Forbidden Knowledge. Who are we talking with?
This is Benjamin. How you doing?
All right, Benjamin. You remember, if there is a kid left over watching, we got to watch what we say. Somebody may have their kids watching this, but I did tell everybody to put them to bed because it's not PG. What's going on, brother?
Oh, okay. So the Tesla and stuff. The other day, you had a broadcast on some experiment with time.
Yes.
So my mind is going towards Tesla's still alive.
You think so?
He's just in time.
You mean more as far as like a time traveler? Because a lot of people said that
like
he probably was
true physical, like time travel in the physical, to the point where he's, in a sense, invisible.
Okay, so what gives
in
you
time? Like,
what gives you those indicators? Kind of share them with us.
Oh man, all sorts of different things. But if he was this intelligent man, that we have documents to prove that he was. He had all these different experiments and stuff that were just, like you said earlier in the podcast, out of this, or before our time even. In like the 1920s, 30s, seeing all these things that are like even in most people's minds today unconceivable.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd think that if he had all these different frequencies and technologies and understandings like that he'd be able to create some sort of physical device for physical travel through time.
You know what that is? You make a great point, Benjamin, because why not? If you're that smart, and they did say his knowledge was off the chart before the time. He had over 700 patents, and he contributed to a lot of our modern day technology today. And you would think probably I would say, you know what, let me invent something that I can come back and forth. And like I said, there's a lot of people that have referred to him being a time traveler, extraterrestrial, or there's just been so many rumors behind him. But definitely I would think, and give me, before I get you out of here though, if you were him, what would you look like? Would you come back as somebody wealthy, or would you come back, because you got to remember, they stole all of his stuff. So I don't think he would come back in the lineage of saying, okay, I'm going to come back as my great grandson so I can live off of my money or my inventions. Right. I'm not really for sure how that would work, but I definitely would
see, I see it more as he is him. Like his, like,
okay.
In a sense, like if you were to like blip out of existence in the time that we are currently in, and then be like you see in the movies and stuff.
Okay.
They in the physical, they still are what they look like when they go at two different times. They may dress different and stuff like that so that they like fit into the scene, so they're whatever, look like the regulars around there. But yeah.
Okay, I feel what you're saying.
He'd be like himself.
All right, well, man, I appreciate you calling in, brother, and appreciate you watching the show. And don't forget to vote for Roderick. It's down in the description.
I already have, brother.
All right, man. I appreciate you, and call back anytime.
Yes, sir.
You got the number. Keep it anything. Okay, thank you.
All righty, brother.
All right. So if anyone else want to call in, the line is open. Now will be the time. 937-687-8326. We're talking about the Tesla. If you got some ideas of what you want to do, or you can throw in your concept to why Beyonce and Jay-Z bought a $200 million ugly property, I think, but now we know that it's a World War II bunker. And why would you spend $200 million unless you want to make sure that your family, now I know why he did, because he could, right? He could. All right. So we got another call coming in, and let's see what we got here. Let's do it.
Sharice Hickson. To accept, press.
All right, Sharice, you're live on the air. How are you? And make sure go ahead and turn the backdrop off there for me.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, turn that other backside off, and then we won't hear a double. You good? All right, you on the air. You good?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for calling.
Oh, okay. How you doing, Roderick? Yes, it's good to speak with you. So we were speaking about, you were talking about Tesla, and what about Tesla? I just heard the last ending part of it.
Well, one of the things we were talking about within the whole show, and thank you for calling in regardless, is there was the whole thing was about the allegedly death ray that he was going to create. Tesla, out of all of his inventions, had this idea that he wanted to create a death ray that will probably end all wars. Okay. And so that was one of the things that he was concerned with, that it was too much war. And he figured out that I can create this one weapon that we can use that not only will knock out a whole infantry, it will knock out airplanes, like 250 miles away, but it will be a deterrent from another country saying, hey, we can't fight. And of course, we know we got nuclear wars, but he died. The government, went in and took his stuff, Hoover. And now people are thinking, did we actually finish that? Did we do it? And of course, you just heard my man Benjamin said that he might be still here with us. So what are your thoughts? And what do you think about Beyonce and them buying that $200 million house that's a bunker? So I want to hear about that next, but go ahead.
Oh, well, about that, I think that was nothing for them to do. They get to write that off anyways, right?
Yeah, but why? Why would that's an ugly house? So unless they're in a loop of that something is happening, what would be the need to have a bunker? And then who decided that, okay, I don't need it anymore, I'll go ahead and sell it if whatever's coming anyway? You get what I'm saying? If something was coming.
Well, you know what? Those are great questions. And I think I really just wanted to get on here to hear your voice and actually say that I met you.
You met me.
I'm still learning, Roderick.
What do you mean?
Yes,
Oh, you mean here?
I'm still learning.
Okay, you met me here.
Yes. To say I actually talked to you. But I always watch you and Billy. And I want to thank you for your service and what you're doing and how you bring awareness about aliens and, everything else, and even what you're talking about now. So just thank you so much. And I'm excited that I even got on.
Hey, did you vote? Did you vote for me though?
Yes, I did. I did vote for you.
Okay.
I wish I can go. I'm just trying to get there.
Okay. Well, definitely come and same thing, but yeah, make sure because if you voted for me once, you got to vote for me again. Now I was voted to be nominated. Now I got to be voted again to win. So did you vote the second time where it's the three of us and now you choose? No,
I'll go in. I can vote again, right?
You can vote again. Yes. And if you can't, it'll let you know, but try again, vote again. Yes. I want you to vote again.
Okay. I will. And I'll vote for you, Roderick. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. You are live on Why the Big Secret. Know the kids are watching and listening. Refrain your voice of the bad words. Who are we speaking to?
Yes, you're speaking with Andre of All Trades. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Andre? Nice plug. Nice plug. That's all right. Okay. But anyway, what's up, my brother? I know. Usually. But anyway, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, pretty good. All right. So couple things. So about the purchase of the $200 million home, or I should say the property. I'm quite sure that the property is more of the agenda, like the land, the bunker, because it's starting to make sense. We're in a time where we're starting to look at like global destruction, right?
Okay.
So when you talk about Nikola Tesla and his inventions and everything, and the last caller was on talking about, time travel, he probably here invisible or whatever. Now check this out. I'm not saying who's right or wrong, but we're going to keep it the facts. So known today to man, the smartest person was who? Albert Einstein, right?
Okay.
Then we have Stephen Hawking, right? He passed away. You know? So here's the thing. So you have physics, would prove things, or would prove the truth is science. Science proves all things, correct?
Okay. That's the purpose of science,
All
yeah,
right,
through
so
hypotheses and everything else.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So who created science? Who's the author of science? Who created it? The Most High, whether people believe it or not, right?
Okay, I'm with you. I'm
science
following.
proved that we're in a matrix and something created us, the universe, right?
Okay.
Because we all know Billy Carter, he's one of our mentors as well.
Yes.
So here's the thing. This is where I'm getting to. The last equation Albert Einstein was working on is the only equation that he could not solve. Do you know what that is?
No, enlighten us.
Time travel.
What do
time travel?
What we think? Do you think that was the one thing we think he couldn't solve? He just didn't want people to know about it.
Could not solve it, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The reason why he couldn't solve it, because you can't change the laws of physics, right?
Okay.
And you can't change the order of the creator who put it there, right?
Okay.
The only way that you can time travel is mental. It's a spiritual time travel. Now, I'm not saying that you can't travel in different dimensions, because we live in a paradox, multiple dimensions simultaneously.
Okay.
Okay. So there is laws with physics. So here's the thing. So with that weapon of pretty much like mass destruction and everything, here's the thing. We don't necessarily create things, we discover it. Because we cannot create what
most people say that everything that is has already been here, right? There's nothing new under the sun.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And the highest, or I should say it like this, let me say it the correct way. The group of people who made it the farthest in intelligence with the elements were the Egyptians, correct?
Okay.
Okay. Now it could go before then, but recorded it was, the Egyptian. So it's so powerful that it's like giving the kid, a baby, a bomb. Even Elon Musk know, because we're dealing with AI intelligence. So look at everything. You got AI intelligence.
Okay.
You got a weapon that can pretty much wipe things out, right?
Yes, that's what the intention were.
Right. And so now we're worrying about how far are we going to put the intelligence in AI technology with a weapon of mass destruction? Because the danger zone is you're putting a bomb in a kid's hand. What do you think is going to happen to it? Because like you said earlier, when you started off, they don't want it to get in the wrong hands.
No, of course not.
So that means information and intelligence, you don't want to put that in the wrong hands. That's why the FBI just took it. They don't care about the rules. They know this already. Everything that we know, they already know.
Gotcha.
And it's been out 10 years, 15 years prior. So whatever information that we get, that we find, they already know. That's why it's classified.
I'm with you on that, my brother. And there's a few people in the audience saying, who is this guy speaking? Go ahead and state your name and just that other name real quick. Get the plug. Come on, let's go.
All right. My name is Andre Valtrese.
All right. I thought you was gonna go and plug yourself. But anyway, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. I really appreciate you. Had a lot of
they can find me on
Huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I really appreciate
they
you
can
coming
find me
on.
on Instagram.
Okay, y'all can find him on Instagram.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Yes, Andre.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to call out. There's a couple other people who tried calling. There's a number ending in 2617. Okay, wait a minute. We got another one coming in. So let's go ahead and take the call. All right. So you're live on Why the Big Secret. So make sure you cut down the backdrop.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so cut down the backdrop. You're live. Who are we speaking with?
This is Laura Lee.
Hey, Laura Lee, thank you. All right, and thank you for your support and all the stuff that you do and been doing. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So which one got
I just want to say something. I think that, what they did with Nikola Tesla is pretty much what they're doing to us now. How they shut him down. They labeled him crazy. The term mad scientist came from him and the way they label him. And that's, I want to refer that to the way that they're dealing with us now, the way they shut us down, label us crazy, saying that, you don't know what you're talking about. And as a result, that's why I feel like he was murdered. And, what Roderick is doing and Billy Carson is doing is to get this knowledge out here. And now they're starting to see that we're not crazy. We're not, off the wall. And I just wanted to, address that for everyone, to understand if they don't already. Of course, I'm sure they do.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah. And I think, really just to open these conversations up is one of the things that I try to do, and then let people come in with their opinions and thoughts and just do the baseline.
What's your name?
My name?
What is your name?
My name is Johnny Carson.
That's funny. Nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I've been here all the time, and I'm one of Billy's big kids, and he had some big ones. I'm one of his biggest ones.
I really appreciate you guys. I got into it not so long ago, probably the end of last year, and I've just been in, just knowledge and everything you guys post, everything Billy posts. I just get into it. It's just studying constantly, and I really appreciate it because I'm so much more, inspired than I was before.
Hey, well, I appreciate it. Now, what was the last 4 digits of your number? Make sure, because did you try to call earlier? I was calling back a number, so let me make sure I don't. What was the last 4 digits of your number?
Oh, it's 8732.
Okay. All right, don't worry. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and call Elvis. Thank you for calling in. Don't forget to vote for me, okay?
All right, definitely.
But when you go vote, my name is gonna change to Roderick Martin. Don't worry about it. Just vote for that guy too, because we kind of wanted the same. Okay, so just do that.
I voted, and I voted again.
All right,
we got it. We got it in the bag.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. All right, so let's do this. I'm gonna call out. I'm going to call out whoever ended in 2617. So hopefully you're still available, and then I'll call 5475 next, and then we would do that. Okay. All right. So let's. All right. So.
Hello.
All right. So I'm calling from Why the Big Secret from Forbidden Knowledge TV.
Oh my God.
All right. All right.
Right?
That's it. Yes.
Oh my God. Big fan of yours. Big fan of Mr. Carson. Both of you and all Forbidden Knowledge is a great blessing in my life. I just had to get that out the way before I wanted to bring up my topic.
All right. So what are we talking about? Talk to me.
Okay.
First of all, who am I talking to? We got to give you acknowledgement.
My name is Jason.
All right, Jason. What's your username in the chat?
In the chat is Jason Miller.
All right, y'all give a shout out to Jason in the chat. Go ahead, brother. You got the moment. And remember, there may be kids listening, so we got to make sure we go.
Really G for general audience.
All right, let's
go. I want to so I can educate them. Okay. First thing about the Beyonce and the Jay-Z, I think it's to distract us for something bigger.
Okay.
But I want to get to something even more important. I'm going to get something else. You ever heard of a place called NTTC, National Technology Transfer Center?
No, I have not. Give us the details. Imagine we haven't heard it, so give us the details for the audience to know.
I believe it's in the University of Ohio.
Okay.
And basically they take like stuff from NASA and the government, like perfect example. Everyone used baby wipes, and everyone right now use diapers on their kids, correct?
Okay. All right.
That technology basically came from NASA when they sent the men to the moon. You know, think of it. You had that little capsule. There was no room for any bathroom at all, so they had to have a way to clean themselves and to go to the bathroom, especially in the low and micro G gravity that they can't. You know, all that stuff will fly around and the instruments will be messed up. You know what I mean?
All right, you got a vivid imagination. You got us going. Come on.
So but people don't know who runs the NTTC. It's the Jesuits.
Oh, really?
The Jesuit college runs that stuff.
What
so
proof,
basically,
now what proof do you have of that? Make sure you bag it up. So
go on the website, type in NTTC, and in small letters will say run by the Jesuits.
Okay. And all right. So what will be the?
Well, but what I'm getting at is the technology we use today. We think it's so advanced. It's just basically the watered down version of the real tech. Like it's like the technology that we think is advanced now is probably there's a technology that's 100, maybe 200 years ahead that they're still figuring and playing around to get total control. So when it is released to the mainstream masses, like a iPhone 14, right?
Okay.
They know all the ins and outs of it to basically monitor, control, to know like, okay, the limits of it beyond what people already know the limits are. You know, we have an iPhone 14. They're probably already playing and tinkering with the iPhone 100. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. In other words, what we see in public, they did say that in the military industrial complex, like things and technology we see now is like 30 years ahead, So I do understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
More, Roderick, because I believe there's different tiers. Like there's a tier that has like technology 100 years ahead of us. There's a tier that has technology above them, maybe like 1,000 years. I heard some stories about alien species having technology like 1,000,000 years ahead of us. And like we get all these like crash UFOs and stuff, and maybe like we think like to us it's a very advanced, right? But to them, it's like maybe they're paper airplanes and they just want to see what we're going to do with it. Like we're like a lab experiment.
Yeah, my show producer, Lonnie, she just put up in the chat. She says she just looked up, I put it on screen, the NTTC, and on the website, it says on the campus of Wheeling Jesuit University in Wheeling, West Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah. It's West Virginia. I apologize. I thought I get confused with Ohio. But yeah.
Oh, don't worry. She corrects me too. Yeah, if she correct you, she correct me. Don't worry about it.
I apologize, but I know it's run by the Jesuits.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Let me get a couple other callers in, man. I appreciate you watching and being
back to my day, and I'm voting for you anytime I get.
I missed that part.
You said, keep the vote for you. Have a great day. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Mm-hmm.
Bye.
All right, so I'm getting ready to call the number ending in 5475. So hopefully you are available as well. And so I'm calling you back. And because that's what I do. I'll call you back. And because there's people I know have trouble calling you back. But I don't have trouble calling you back. So let's do it. Y'all funny.
Hello, Roderick.
Hey, what's going on? This is Roderick. Why the Big Secret? Who are we talking to?
This is Ted.
Thud? Is it Thud? What do you say?
No, Ted, like teddy bear.
Teddy bear. Well, shit. Let's just call you Teddy Bear. No, I'm just kidding. What's going on, Ted?
Yeah, that'll work.
All right, man. Appreciate you calling.
Hey, I'm new to this 4BK, man. This week, I probably watched every episode you guys Billy's got on 4BK, and it's blowing my mind, man. It's really cool, and can't wait for future episodes.
Well, definitely, man.
I've got a question. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here.
Okay.
But something that's in the back of my mind. All this talk about Tesla and stuff about him time traveling, that Out of everything I've seen and heard about Tesla, I've never seen or heard anything about a funeral for the guy.
Ha! Well, you know the guy. What's it? Benjamin, who, if you heard him call in earlier, said Tesla is among us walking around today. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Does anybody out there know of where Tesla's buried or what happened to him?
That is a good idea. Let's crowdsource this thing. Anybody listening in the audience, and y'all hear Ted's and Ted's making a great point. You don't know or hear him having a burial and who went to the funeral and all that kind of stuff. So any of y'all definitely, and that's part of why the big secret, Ted. You just bring up one of the things, and questions. So let's see if somebody in the audience could pull that up. Anybody can find any evidence of when and where he was, not when, yeah, but where he was buried. Actually, is he out of here, or is he, because he could have probably came up with time travel, which the other caller said, Aaron said no, but Benjamin, like, he's still here. So everybody's got mixed emotions there. And so now, how did you find how did you find the channel?
I just kind of thought it was ironic that there's nothing about his funeral.
Now, Stephen, there's someone posted now. Stephen says he died in the 80s. He's not being specific yet, but he said in a New York hotel. So
right, I know that. And that's where JP Morgan put him up in the hotel.
But we don't know. There is no actually, well, we're going to go tomorrow and go put some flowers on his grave for Memorial Day, is what you're saying.
Well, I just think it's ironic that out of all the stuff we hear about Tesla, I've never heard nothing about a funeral or anything.
Okay, so basically, the producer of the show says his body, she just put it on text, I'm bringing it on the screen, Ted. She said his body was interred in New York's, what's this, Ferncliff Cemetery before being cremated in March of the same year, and an urn with Tesla's ashes was taken to Belgrade in 1957. So that's what she found out, and pretty much. So maybe we can look into that and just kind of see it. But anyway, man, I thank you for allowing me to call you back, and then you're part of the show. Also, I have my own channel. It's called Why the Big Secret as well, Roderick Martin. So you're on Forbidden Knowledge TV, which I'm here every Tuesday. But if you want to go over, subscribe to that YouTube channel, then you'll get me throughout the week outside of the one day that I'm here.
Yeah, I'm all over it. I'm watching you guys on YouTube, 4BK TV. I got it all hooked up, man.
Yes, and make sure you come to the Conscious Award. You get to meet everybody in person. There will be like a red carpet event. Yeah, Billy will be there. Elizabeth will be there. All of the people that
I wish I could, but the years haven't been too kind to me, buddy.
Okay.
And I'm stuck here in Michigan, so I'll have to catch you guys on over the wire,
Hey, man, I appreciate it, though. I really appreciate you doing what you can and being here. And may the years be a lot more longer and less, harsh. And so that's the wish.
Yeah. Well, shit, whoops, things happen.
Hey, I got a censor button, though. I can go like, that's just for you, but it's late, but it still works. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. You're good. All right. I appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you. And then I'll thank you for calling. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So the email address, Lonnie, you can put that in a chat, is for Ray Moses here. He says, what's your email again? It is there you go. So she just put it in the chat. There's the email address. I can see if you're emailing anything right now. Also, for all of you, if you didn't know, we are going to be talking more about Project Black, and that's coming out. And if you want to support t-shirts or anything, go to whythebigsecret.com and you'll be able to. And you kind of hear earlier what they was talking about, the Egyptian stuff. So this is the kind of the logo of Project Black. So and that is the Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. And this is for everybody. We're just going to focus on stories and representation in indigenous and African American communities that are disproportionately represented. And so we're finding that out, and it's an adventure. A lot of people is coming on board. If you want to volunteer, if you got a story and you want to share your UFO story and you don't mind coming on camera, or we can tape it, or all those things, go to whythebigsecret.com, and there you will see where it says Project Black, but you can also go there and click and type in your story. And then there's a place too, if you want to share any videos or photos and you want us to talk about it, it is now up and running. And check out the merch. Check out our merch, definitely from there. Okay, so Lonnie, the phone lines is open. We'll take a couple of more calls before we get out. If anybody wants to come on in, the number will be up on the screen. But anyway, it is 937-687-8326. And then, so we'll take, maybe one or two more calls before we get out of here for tonight, if anyone wants to give us a call. All right. So the phone lines are open. And if you want to talk about the Jay-Z and Beyonce buy, like I said, hey, they bought that for a reason. And you buy a bunker for a reason. You just don't go and say, I just want to own a bunker, unless you want to protect your family. And if you got the means to say, I want the very best of the best, give me a 200, and Billy used to make those underground things too. And he still does, remember he did some, and I think there's a waiting list on these things. And then you got people out there buying old missile silos that they are renovating into homesteads, or, so that's been out there a big, long time. And maybe you buy one of those things if you think you need to protect yourself from whatever is out there. And then of course you can be rich enough, just like everybody else, and say, I'm just going to get off the planet. I'm just going to create a spaceship and leave. And then, so that's one of the stories from there. And so, all right. So we'll go ahead and get out of here, since we don't have any new call-ins and everything else. And I can definitely pick out a few things and pretty much, and let me call, I'm going to call a show producer here and get her into this call real quick. She might answer, and then put her on the spot here for a second and see.
Hey, what's going on?
All right. So this is the greatness of Lonnie on the call. So Lonnie, before we get out of here, let's just give me your commentary on why Beyonce and Jay-Z buy a $200 million property, which is not that cute, but now we find out it's a World War II bunker. Why would someone, even if you were them, why would you buy it? Let's speculate.
Ooh, don't get us booted off this channel. The stuff I'm going to say is, we're about to be in a rabbit hole if I got to answer this question.
Okay, well, don't answer it unless you just want me to just get this thing right here and just be like, every other word that you say, you know what I'm saying? All right, so
I could think of a rabbit hole.
Then you know what? We'll talk about it on Why the Big Secret. We'll do a show this week, because I think that's something, and we'll start looking at bunkers and who's buying them, why they're buying them, and see if there's any undercurrent story of something that is happening that will pretty much look into that stuff. Okay, so we'll look at that as well.
We should do that. I bet you there's a lot of people buying bunkers. I bet you there's a lot of them being sold that we don't even know about. Yeah, we should do that.
Okay. All right. So we'll look into it. I appreciate it. So we don't have any more callers. I'm going to go ahead and bow out gracefully. Appreciate what you're doing, and we will go from there. And so appreciate it. And
okay, but first, let me clarify something though. For those of you that have already voted, if y'all went to voteforroderick.com and you put your vote in, if you did it the first time where you had to type his name in, we need you to do it a second time, because now we're in round 2 of the vote. So we need you guys to go back to the website. I'll drop it in the chat, and just click on the button. There's going to be a button that you can click with his name now to vote for him. So you're going to have to vote 2 times. If you didn't vote the second time, we need y'all to go and do that for us. That would help us a lot.
You said it, and more eloquently than I would have done. Appreciate you. All right. We'll talk. All right. So y'all heard it. From there, we're going to get ready to get out of here gracefully, and I'll just take us on home and pretty much from there. But I will play this though. Let me give y'all a little hint of a couple of y'all heard our theme song, Truth Seekers, and all of that stuff. So I'll definitely give you some more of it real quick. So How about this?
To everyone tuning in, let me ask you, why the big secret concealing it from the mass view? UFOs circle in the sky, still get no reply. I think it's time for truth seekers to rise. Hands up if you're feeling how I'm feeling. Spread the truth and start revealing. Knocking down the doors of the big secret keepers. Truth seekers coming through your speakers. What?
Yeah, that's from the old school South. That's from the people that listen to old Public Enemy and all that kind of tune. I know some of the young folks might be like, what?
Unknown, so many questions unanswered. Secrets of mass like a poisonous cancer. Find the files for the evidence tampered. UFOs flying by become the standard. The war for information is far from over. Truth seekers bringing disclosure. What's done in the dark shall be revealed in time. Why the big secret about to blow your mind?
All right, so that is our going away song. That is for you to know that we are doing what we do. And so at the end of the day, let's get out of here. So, all right, everyone, this is the end of the show. We're going to get out, and I want to appreciate you being here tonight and your time. And as always, it's been a pleasure and much love to each and every one of you. Make sure you go out and love your loved ones and kiss them and do all the things that you need to do, because life is moving pretty fast right now. Pay attention to the news, because all the UFO talk is changing. The government is trying to do a soft disclosure, so you want to be prepared for the information that you hear. And don't ignore when you understand that every day you go to work, they're taking money out of your money and your check for UFO taxes, baby, because it is real and it's what it is. Watch some of the other podcasts here on Forbidden Knowledge Network. We got Courtney. She'll be here tomorrow. Mental Strategist will be here tomorrow. Check the ladies out as well and support each and all of the shows as we do here on Forbidden Knowledge Podcast Network. And that's what we do. And I'm pretty much there. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Good night. And you don't have to stay here, but you don't have to go to bed, but you can't stay here. So with that being said, I'm going to bring us out, and let's go.
Let me ask you a question. Why the big secret? Truth seekers were really the true leaders. It's time to get the facts from the big secret keepers. UFOs passing by when I look up in the sky. We're out here asking why, but we don't get no reply. We want disclosure, we need the actual facts. They're covering all the tracks, but we're not backing down. It's our time, stay on the grind. Why the big secret's about to blow your